Hello everyone and welcome back to the pond. My name is Frank, aka Bullfrog TCG, and today we are taking another Teemo deck for a spin, and this deck is called Team Warp, and you might have already guessed what that means. We are indeed playing the Time Warp in this deck. I've been wanting to try out a Teemo Time Warp deck for quite a while, but I haven't really got it to function the way I wanted it to, but I think this deck is actually pretty sweet. But before we get into the deck tech, if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more from me, then please leave a like and subscribe, and maybe write a comment. It really helps to support the channel and I will be forever grateful. But okay, let's get into the deck. So we are playing the purple champion today, the Teemo Scout, 2 energy, 1 might, hidden when you play me, giving +3 might this turn. I mean, I think this is just now the best Teemo. I mean, it probably always was the best Teemo, just +4 might for essentially 1 energy, because you can use the Teemo ability to pay 1 energy to hide this for 1 energy instead of a power, which is really powerful. And the fact that you can also, after you've used it, when they pass back to you, you can also just use this Teemo ability to get it back to your hand and then hide it again. But okay, let's take a look at the other units. We are playing 3 Traveling Merchants, just a phenomenal turn 1 play. Helps you dig through your stuff or dig through your deck to find the pieces you need. We're playing 3 Ravenloom Student, another amazing turn 1 play that just grows when we play spells, and as you can see we play quite a lot of spells, 24 spells. This is also just a really good card. We're playing 2 Blastgone Fae. We play this mostly for the hidden tag. The effect is nice, of course, just giving something -2 and then it develops a 2 might body, so this kind of feels like a Teemo in some sense, because it is like a 2 might difference. We never really want to play this out for the full cost, because 2 energy and a power is a lot for just this effect, but hidden it's quite good. Then we're playing 2 Ari. Now I think this card is really good in a Time Warp deck, because Ari is really good at holding, and that is kind of what you have to do when you're playing Time Warp. So I really like this as an inclusion in the deck. I'm only playing it as a 2 of, because I mean I do try to be as conservative with the power cost as I can, and as this has a power, we don't really want to like chain Aries in the early game. We kind of want to get to the Time Warp, like the 10 energy, as fast as we can. But a few of these is really good in the deck. Then we're playing 2 Ember Monk, just the like payoff for playing hidden cards. Gets +2 might every time you reveal a hidden card. Is just a really solid staple in the Teemo like hidden strategy in general. Then we're playing 2 Watchers. I mean, we all know what this card does. Just a phenomenal like finisher, just to like swing the game back in your favor. And then we are playing 1 Gear. We're playing 1 Seal of Insight. I'm not really sure about this card. I played it just because I wanted to mitigate some of the power cost in case we were forced to play like Ari and Smokescreen and a lot of those cards in the early game. But I don't know, I feel that this card might not be needed, as we are quite efficient when it comes to power cost in general. So I don't know, but for now I'm playing it as a one-off. Then for the spells, like I always get flack for not playing stack deck in my purple decks, so now I'm playing a playset. And yeah, I mean, it is an amazing card. 1 energy to just look at the top 3 cards of your deck. It's a really good card for just fighting the pieces you need. Really good for consistency, and the fact that it has action, you can play it on your opponent's turn to trigger the Ravenloom Student as well. It's just really powerful. So yeah, I mean that is a solid card in purple. Sometimes I just can't find the room for this, because I'd rather like get cards that actually do something instead of cards that find cards that do something. But yeah, I mean, I can't deny that this card is really good. And then we're playing 3 Stupefy. This is just a really good card in blue. It costs 1 energy to give something -1, which is really valuable for just like breakpointing some attacks, getting away from like being attacked back or getting attacked into. It all costs 1 energy. It's really good in the early game, but it can also come up in the late game. And then you can always just use this energy to just cycle it, because it draws 1 card when you play it out, so it just cycles itself, which is really powerful. And also you can combine this with Singularity to be able to take out cards like Watcher or the Tasty Fae Folk, for example, like just 7 might units in general, which is really good. So yeah, this is a really solid card in this deck. Then we're playing 3 Gust. This is just, I mean, it's mostly just to really slow down our opponent's tempo while maintaining our own. Because we don't really want to get into in the early game, or getting attacked into in the early game, because our units are quite small. And I mean, unless we hide the Teemo, then these are very fragile. And also, if we're forced to go second, then it's really nice to just being able to gust your opponent's turn 1 play to kind of take the lead back from them, because being in the point lead is really essential in this kind of deck. So yeah, really good card. They were playing 2 Retreat to just take care, or to protect our most important stuff. I mean, this is mostly used to protect the Thousand-Tailed Watcher, but it can also be used, I mean, kind of aggressively to just retreat something to get that extra rune to then be able to like curve into like a Time Warp or a Watcher, for example, on the following turn. So it can be used as that as well, but as we don't really have that many targets that we're desperate to protect, I am only playing it as 2 of. They were playing 2 Smokescreen, just a really, really good card in blue. Give something -4 for 2 energy. It is a reaction, so it can be used in reaction to like a challenge, for example. It can be used in reaction to a Snapbind, for example. Just a really solid card in blue. They were playing 1 Guerrilla Warfare for some extra recursion for our hidden cards, which is nice. We're only playing it as a 1-up because, I mean, sometimes you don't really have that many hidden cards in your trash, but 1 is nice. And then we're playing 3 Fight or Flight, one of the best cards in purple. It can be used to bounce your opponent's stuff back. It can be used to protect your own stuff from being attacked into. It can also be used on your own turn to just bounce units that are holding back to the base to then be able to attack into the other base to get some extra point, or the other battlefield to then be able to get some extra points. Just a really, really solid card. And it is also a hidden card, of course, so it can just be hidden for free or like for 1 energy in this deck. So yeah, super solid. We're playing 3 Sprite Gull. I mean, you can also be playing the Sprite Mother in this deck, but as I said, I want to be as efficient, like energy efficient as possible. And if we're going first, we can turn 1, we can play a Traveling Merchant. And then turn 2, we can conquer with the Traveling Merchant, play the Sprite Call, and then also have energy up for the Gust. So I think this curves really nicely in this deck. And the fact that it has hidden as well means that you can just hide it and have like a 3 might body ready if your opponent tries to attack into you. So yeah, this is just a really, really solid card in this deck. Then we're playing, as I said, 2 Singularity. Just a really good card to take care of your opponent's big stuff, to kind of slow down their tempo, protect your own stuff from being attacked into on the next turn. Really solid card. And then, of course, we are playing the 2 Time Warp. Now, I mean, this is kind of what you're going for with this deck. This is your main win con. Of course, you can win without this as well, just like the power of the Watcher and just the Embermuck and the hidden cards in general. But the Time Warp is what we're going for, and that is why we're playing so many consistency tools like the Decktech and the Traveling Merchant. We're playing the Stupefy that also draws you a card, and also in the battlefields we're playing the Candlelit Sanctum. To also, when you conquer here, you can just look at the top 2. So we're desperately trying to dig for this one. This is, I mean, it is one of the most expensive cards in the game for a reason. 10 energy, 4 power to just take another turn after this one. I mean, it's a ridiculous card. So yeah. I mean, sometimes it can be sitting in your hand, but if you can get this off, then you're usually going to win. Okay, and then for the battlefields, we are playing the Battle Tree. Is standard battlefield in Teemo, because you can hide 2 cards here. I mean, not really more to say about that. We're playing the Fortified Position. When you defend here, choose unit against shield 2 this combat. Really solid for defending, as we do like defending quite a lot. And like this in combination with the RE is just insane, because the RE is going to grow to 5, and then it's going to give our opponent's unit -2. So this is really hard to take care of for our opponent. And then for the final one, as I said, the Candlelit Sanctum. When you conquer here, look at the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may recycle 1 or both of them. Put those you don't back in any order. So just a really good consistency tool to find, namely the Time Warp, but also like the Singularity or the Watcher in a clutch situation. And then for the runes, we are just playing 7 and 5 split. I mean, we don't really need the Chaos runes in the main deck, because as you can see, we have no Chaos power cost. But we do in the sideboard. For the sideboard, we are playing 2 Flash, just to give some extra protection, and also you can use it, as I said, to on your own turn to bounce stuff back, to then be able to attack into the other battlefield. 1 more Smokescreen in case we feel like we need that. 3 Rebukes. Now this is kind of the power cost. 3 Rebukes for just taking care of big units, namely like in the Aurora decks and like just the slam big units decks, because I mean, our units are very small, and we can do some equalizing with the cards like Smokescreen, but that is only going to get us that far. So the Rebuke is just a really solid card to just make that job a lot easier. And then we're playing 2 Kog'Maw. I mean, I'm not really sure I like this card in this deck, but it is nice to just have something against like Swarm decks. And I mean, you do play this out, and your opponent is just going to pull back from the battlefield, but in the exchange, that makes it a lot easier for you to attack into them. So it kind of like does its job, even though it doesn't get to attack and kill a lot of stuff. So yeah, I mean, for now I'm playing this one, but I mean, I'm not really sure. I couldn't really think of anything else to add here. But okay, that is the deck. That is Team Warp. We are going to jump into some games to see this deck in action. Hope you enjoy them, and I will see you at the end for the wrap-up. And game 1 is going to be against the big bad wolf of the format herself, Kai'Sa. We are on the Battle City, or Battle Tree battlefield, and the opponent is on the Dreaming Tree. Okay, so double tree here. Yeah, let's see how this goes. Let's see if we can beat the Titan herself. We are going to lead off with a Traveling Merchant, our ideal opener. Our opponent is going to lead off with a Yordle. Okay, we draw into a Tide Turner. We're going to attack with the Traveling Merchant into the Dreaming Tree. We're thinking about discarding the Sprite Call, but we decide to go for the Tide Turner instead. The Tide Turner is not really going to do much here. unless we find something better later. But the Sprite Call could come in handy next turn potentially. Yeah, we're gonna get 1 point for that, play the Sprite Call to conquer the other battlefield right away, get another point, and then we pass to him holding the Gust up, which is exactly what we want. So in case he wants to attack into us, we can just Gust that unit away to deny him 1 point, ideally. Yeah, that is why I play the Gust, because the Gust is really good in the early game to just slow down our opponent a lot. So yeah, I mean they do get the drawback, but then they have to spend 3 energy to play the Yordle out again. So it does set them back quite a bit. And just the tempo is most important in this deck, I feel like. Okay, he's gonna play out the Kaiser. Accelerated, so he's gonna be able to attack into the Traveling Merchant here. Or the Sprite, but I mean, he probably goes for the Merchant. Yep. We are gonna retreat the Merchant. Just because we do want to draw off the Dreaming Tree, and also we want the extra rune to just ramp a bit. We do draw into Stupefy, which means that we can play the Sprite Call and use the Stupefy on the Kaiser to take that out, which is really good. And that is exactly what we do. We Stupefy first, we find the Time Warp, so we have that. We get the token, the Sprite, attack into the Kaiser, trade there. Yep. And then we can just play out the Merchant and again keep the Gust up. Yeah, so I mean the Gust is probably going to be used on the Yordle here. But we are on the lead, which is nice. We're on 2 points, our opponent is on 1 point, and we are going to do our best to keep it that way, at least for now. But let's see what our opponent does here. Okay, he's tapping out for another Yordle, okay, just drawing 1 more. And then he plays out a Noxus Hopeful. Okay, he has a lot of units in hand. Okay, he's gonna Conquering, we are gonna use the Gust on that right away. Yep, no point for you. We draw into the Watcher. The Watcher could be nice here. Okay, we decide to go into the Dreaming Tree, discarding a Traveling Merchant. We don't really need 2 here. Getting a point. We are going to use the Decktech we just drew. We find Gust, Decktech, and Ravenloom Student. Yeah, we could go for another Decktech, but I think we just want the Ravenloom Student for the extra unit, because we are quite unit. We don't really have that many units here. And then we contemplate. We could use the Singularity here to take care of the Yordle and the Hopeful, but like using Singularity on a Yordle doesn't really feel that good. We'd rather save it for something like a Darius, for example. Okay, we decided to hide the Teemo as well. I mean, you should always do this if you have extra energy. You should always add the Teemo to your hand before you hide it. It does cost some extra energy, but that means that your opponent, like now that hidden card could be anything. If you just hide it from the champion zone, then your opponent knows what it is, and he can kind of play around that. But now that could be anything. So yeah, that is just a little tiny edge you should be using. Alright. We have passed back to him. He is still on 1 point. We are on 3 points, which feels really good. He is going to use that looks like a Falling Star. Yep, that is a Falling Star. We have to reveal the Teemo in response. He kills our Merchant and a Ravenloom Student, unfortunately. And that is sad. And it was nice here. Like, it kind of sucks that we can't spend all of our energy on our turn, but that also means that now we're kind of tricking our opponent into thinking that we have something in hand, like a Smokescreen, for example. He plays out a Darius. The Darius is ready and a 7 might because he played the Falling Star this turn, and he does attack with both units in here. And the reason he did that is probably because he is playing around the Smokescreen. But what that allows us to do is we can take out the Noxus Hopeful for free, which, I mean, he does know our hand, so he was completely safe just attacking into that with the Darius. But since he did this, we can actually take out the Hopeful in the same go. So that's really good for us. Yeah, well, he is gonna have to remove that Noxus Hopeful as well, because we did kill that. And there we go. Okay. Okay, well, this is the perfect moment to play out our Watcher. Attack for 1, or attack for 7 into 2 at this point. Get a point. And then we just have to pass back to him. We do have the Fight or Flight in case he comes in with his own Watcher, for example. That could be pretty bad for us. But let's see what he does. He does have 8 cards on hand, so the potential is endless here. Okay, moves his Yordle back. That's fine. Okay, he's gonna play out a Legion Rearguard and an Auction Hopeful. Okay, well, this hand is just all units, it seems like. And another Noxus Hopeful. Okay, well, we take that. We draw into another Fight or Flight. And this is very interesting. spot to be in, because now since we have the double fight or flight, we can actually use this fight or flight to move the Watcher back and then attack into the battle tree to get another point this turn. Which means that if we had been on 12 runes this turn, we could have actually won now. Because we could have moved this back. Or no, well, we couldn't actually won, we needed one more point. But yeah, that is what we do, we move it back to the base, attack into the battlefield, and then we can now Singularity to take out the 2 biggest units, the 2 Noxus Hopefuls. That seems good for us, and then we manage to play out the Riftbound student, and then we can just hide the fight or flight. Like, hiding is always better if you like have the opportunity to, because then that means the fight or flight becomes a reaction, so you could actually use it in response to like a falling star or like a double falling star, for example. So yeah. Okay, let's see what he does here. Okay, he plays his own Thousand-Tailed Watcher. So that means our Watcher goes to a 4. We do have the fight or flight, so we can bounce our Watcher back. We don't want to bounce his Watcher back here, because if we do, then he can just attack into our Watcher with the Yordle and the Legion Rearguard and trade into that, which is not what we want. Yeah, we're gonna use the fight or flight here. Move the Watcher back. Yep, that's fine. Now we are vulnerable to a falling star, and he has 2 energy up, so if he has that, then that's gonna be pretty bad for us. Okay, yeah, that's the falling star. Fortunately, the Watcher was at 4 might, so he had to deal that damage twice. So we do actually survive with the Ravenloom student. So depending on what our opponent does here, okay, it attacks into that, gets 1 point. And then, is he gonna let the Yordle sit in the back? I mean, if he does, then, oh yeah, we're gonna punish that. We're gonna punish that. Like, he is probably playing around like getting Watchered back again, because then we could have taken care of his whole board, so he decided to keep 1 unit back. But since we have the Time Warp, that actually allows us to trade perfectly into this round, because we can play the Time Warp and the Seal, and that is going to grow the Ravenbloom to a 3, and then we can attack into the Legion Rearguard, which is the 2. He doesn't have energy up, so he can't do anything about this, and we are just going to take care of that, get a point, and then we're going to pass to our own turn and get 1 point for holding. So yeah, he's thinking a bit, and then yeah, GG. I should have just sent Yordle too. Okay, Leon, I actually noticed that I have my face in front of the text box again, so I apologize for that. I'm actually going to change that right now. So for the next game, it's going to be fixed. But okay, yeah, really good way to start off the day. We got the Time Warp off. We beat Kaisa, which is the best deck in the format. So yeah, I mean, let's keep it going. And game 2 is going to be against Viktor. We are on the fortified position, and our opponent is on the Treferian War Camp. So let's see how this goes. Can we beat the Viktor as well? We are going to lead off with the Traveling Merchant again. Our ideal turn 1 play here. Which means that we're going to be able to capture the fortified position right away, which is really good, because that is very hard to conquer, but is really easy to hold. Okay, we're going to move in with a Merchant. We do have some options here. We decided to just go for the Ravenloom student. We do have 1 already. And then we decide to add the Teemo to our hand, and then just hide him there. Yeah, we could have like kept the retreat and the Stupefy up, but I think just getting the Teemo out in the battlefield is better, because that makes it a lot harder for opponent to attack into that. So yeah, we pass back. Let's see what he does. He attacks with the Recruit into the War Camp. That is fine. He's going to make another Recruit with the Victory ability into that battlefield. Well, we might be able to punish that, or maybe not. Okay, it does hide a card there. That is probably a Hidden Blade. Does he have anything else, is the question. He does. Okay, that's a Call of the Week. Yeah, so I mean, at this point we're kind of debating, because we want to keep both the Merchant and the Teemo, but we decided to let the Merchant go because the Teemo is a lot more versatile, and it's a lot more powerful when we like can keep hiding it. But we do get 1 point for holding. We go into a Seal and a Retreat, and we decided to just, I mean, this Hidden Blade has got to go, and seeing that he only has 3 cards in hand, he probably wants to use that on his own Recruit, so we are feeling pretty safe going for this one. And then in case we're desperate, we can just retreat the Ravenbloom as well. Yeah, okay, we lets that go. Draws 2 cards, we get a point. Draws 2 cards, we get a point. Let's see what we decide to do. We're going to Stupefy the Ravenbloom just to draw 1. Just to cycle 1. We get the Singularity, which could be really nice later. It's not good against tokens, but it's really good to take out the Victor in the back. Or the Champion Victory if he decides to play it out. Okay, we do use the Teemo ability to get the Teemo back in hand. And then we just hide it again. Yeah, refueled or reloaded, I should say. And then we pass back to him. We do have the retreat and the fight or flight up, so we do feel pretty safe here. It does feel bad to give up the fortified position battlefield, but I mean, at this point you probably can't take it, at least not this turn. And he does make a recruit. And the Leona, yeah, the Leona could be a problem. The Leona is a really good attacker. But we have the fight or flight in hand. No, fight or flight, we have the singularity in hand. Okay, here we're kind of debating, because we can do the same thing as we did last game by using the fight or flight on the Riftbound to move her back and then conquer the other battlefield. Yeah, we decided to just pass back to him, actually. We don't want to retreat. We'd rather keep the fight or flight for the Leona in specific, because we could use the singularity here, but we don't really want to use the singularity on a token. And if we can just save one turn to use the fight or flight on the Leona to bounce her back, so she can attack into us, and then maybe use the fight or flight or the singularity next turn, then we're gonna try to go for that. And then we also do have the gust to like maybe bounce a recruit back, for example, if he wants to go into the fortified position with that. Kind of force them to attack into that with a Leona instead. So yeah, let's see what he does here. He's thinking a lot. Okay, yeah, he decides to go for the recruit. We decided to just gust that recruit, saying that if you want that point, you're gonna have to attack with the Leona, which in turn is gonna protect our Riftbound and our Teemo from the Leona, which is nice. Means that we can actually conserve the fight or flight, and yeah, that's exactly what happens. We don't really care about using the fight or flight here, like he can have that 1 point. We're in a very good lead here. Now we just wanted to play out something big that we can actually use the use the singularity on. Let's play Riftbound student. That could be a good target. And a Vanguard captain as well. Okay, so he's got his recruits going. Then he probably passes back to us. Yeah, he does. Okay, so we get 1 point for holding. And then, I mean, just having double fight or flight here feels so good. We're gonna use the Teemo. Get that out. We're gonna use one singularity to take care of the Leona and the... We decided to go for the Vanguard captain. I mean, the Riftbound student can potentially get bigger, but he's only on 4 cards, and we'd rather take the one that is like big already instead of the one that can potentially get big. So yeah, we're gonna attack with the Riftbound here. She is at 4 because we spent used 2 spells this turn, and then we go to 6 points. And like now we potentially could have like the time warp next turn. So it really just depends on what he does. But yeah, like this is a very weird spot to be in, because we kind of want to bounce that Teemo back. Yeah, like, okay, so that was a bit of a misplay. If I wanted the Teemo back there, I should have just used the legend ability and then not have wasted the retreat. We do get an extra rune, which is nice. But I mean, if our plan was to go for the time warp next turn, then we would have had enough to do that anyways. So yeah, I probably should have just used the legend ability there. But, you know, it is what it is. We decided to get that back and then just hide the Teemo. Now we actually decided to go for the fight or flight. Yeah, so I think in this moment, in my head I was thinking that I had the battle tree and that I could hide both of those. But of course I can't. I can only hide one of them. So like the fight or flight is more defensive, the Teemo is more aggressive, and I think the correct choice is to go for the fight or flight, just because if he has like a grand stratagem here, for example, then we can just protect the Riftbound student and then potentially be able to go for the game next turn, because we do, as I said, have the time warp in hand. But okay, let's see what happens here. Plays 2 energy to hidden blade that. Okay, well, we are actually going to use the fight or flight to move that back. And since that is no longer on a battlefield, it doesn't die. But since we are still the controller, we still draw 2, which is nice. Like, that is a very weird interaction with hidden blade, because it doesn't care about the unit being killed. It cares about the controller of the unit. So as long as the unit is still on board and the controller can be determined, then you still draw 2 cards. So this was just a very good trade-off for us. But okay, we draw into a seal and a retreat. The seal doesn't really do anything here. The retreat could come in handy, but I mean, we can't really use it now because we only have. I mean, we don't have energy up. Okay, attacks with 1 recruit, 2 recruits, 3 recruits into the battlefield. And then what does he do? He has another Vanguard captain. Okay, so he's going hard into that battlefield. That is fine. And he plays a Riftbound into the fortified position. And now we're kind of like, yeah, this is the the payoff for running the fortified position, is that it's also really good for the opponent, and it feels really bad for us to attack into that. But okay, we draw a Sprite Call, which is actually very good, because that means that we can like attack into the Riftbound student and still have a unit live. We decided to play out the Teemo, and the reason we do that is because we want to play the sprite call, attack into this, attack in like this, I mean. He smoke screens that is fine. And this is actually why we played out the Teemo, because in case he had a smoke screen. Now this, oops. Okay, so now, in case he had a smoke screen, because now this is 4 to 5. Because this gets a +2 from the battlefield, and then it gets +1 for the smoke screen. But since we played out the Teemo, we had, in case he had a smoke screen, we can use the retreat to get the Teemo back, and then that's gonna grow the Ravenloom student, and then it's gonna be 5 versus 5. So that's why we played out the Teemo. It looked like a weird play, but we were just geniusly thinking ahead. So yeah. All right. And that is exactly what we're gonna do here, because the Ravenloom student shrinks. Okay, we're gonna use the retreat. Get the Teemo back. Grow the Ravenloom. And then that's 5 to 5. And then now, since he had put all of his units into the battlefield, we can potentially just play out the Teemo here, and then unless he has like something that comes in accelerated, we can just attack with the Teemo and then use the time warp on the next turn. So yeah, we're kind of going all in on this Teemo surviving this, because that is a 1 might unit. So yeah, that is kind of the danger of just going so hard into one battlefield, is that you leave the other battlefield completely open. So he should have kept like at least 1 unit back, so that he could like just protect that battlefield in case it came to it. And yeah, that is exactly what happens. We go to 7 points. Unless he has something here. If he had a hidden blade, that would be really bad for us. And yeah, then we just time warp and win the game. Yeah, GG. Alright, yeah, another good game. Another time warp game. Like we're kind of... Like it's really important in Teemo, because there were so many plays and so many angles you can take, and it's really important to just really evaluate your resources and how to use them most efficiently. And just that Teemo play there allowed this whole ending to happen, because if we didn't play the Teemo at first, then we would have gotten got by the smoke screen. Then we couldn't have taken out the Ravenloom student. But since we did that and we had the retreat in hand, we could actually take out the Ravenloom student, play the Teemo out, and since he went all into this battlefield, then he couldn't attack us back. So yeah, that is just the power of just thinking ahead, I guess. And yeah, worked out very well this time. And game 3 is going to be against the Volibear. We are again on the battle tree, and our opponent is on the Aspirant's Climb. And the Aspirant's Climb is not what we want to see here. That is going to make our job a lot more difficult. And our opening hand is very weird. We have triple Fight or Flight and a Time Warp. So yeah, let's see if we can get some units as well. We top deck the Traveling Merchant, which is exactly what we need. Our opponent doesn't do anything on turn 1, which is nice. We discard a Fight or Flight, hoping to find a Sprite Call. We don't. But we instead decided to just play out the Teemo. He's probably not going to be able to play out a unit this turn anyways. Or something that can attack anyways. So that means that we can go for the 3 points next turn. He's going to play out the Catalyst, get 2 runes. That is fine. We get 1 point for holding. We move the Teemo and get to another point, unless he has like a Hextech Ray or something silly like that. Apparently he doesn't. So we're on 3 points. We move the Traveling Merchant back to get another draw off. And we decide to go for the retreat. Yeah, we draw a double Time Warp, so I guess we should have gone for the Time Warp instead. We decided to move the Teemo back, and that is because he is now on 7 runes, and the next turn he can potentially play out a Ravenbloom. He can potentially play out the Deadbloom. Play out the Deadbloom, and the Deadbloom is not something we want to deal with now, because we don't really have the tools to deal with that, because, I mean, we're on 6 energy, and we have Fight or Flight, but the Ravenbloom has, no, the Deadbloom has Deflect. So if we use Fight or Flight on that, then we have to wait another turn to play the Time Warp. So we are really trying to rush this person down as fast as possible, and like keeping that 1 point away from them is a really, really good way to do that. Because if he took out the Teemo there, then we couldn't have gone for 2 points next turn. So yeah, that is why we did it like this. He's gonna play a Misfortune, okay, and a Catalyst. So he's not actually accelerating the Misfortune, which is nice. That means that we get another turn to just attack into these battlefields. That's what we decide to do here. So we decide to play out the Ravenloom student. Just because. And we actually decided to just pass back to him. And that might seem like a very weird play. But again, like, if we attack it with both of our guys here, yes, we're going to get 2 points. But that enables his Deadbloom. So he's going to be able to just smack attack into the battlefield. We do have double Fight or Flight. But we'd rather save those. Like, again, we don't want to Deadbloom the Fight or Flight the Deadbloom. Because that is going to set us back a rune. We can use the Singularity to take care of the Misfortune, but we'd rather save that until he has another unit on the board that we want to take out. So yeah, I mean, that is why we did it like this. It might seem like a very weird play, but yeah, like in the end, like I'm just trying to rush him down as fast as possible, and denying him that Dead Bloom value is really important. So yeah, let's see what happens here. Okay, he plays out a Magma Worm and pass back to us, so he doesn't want to attack with a Misfortune either, which is really funny. But okay, we attack, we discard the Seal, that is not going to do much, and we draw into a Stupefy, which is the best draw we could have had, because that means that we can use the Time Warp here, and then we're going to get 2 points from that, get 2 from holding, get 2 runes back. We can move the units back, denying him the Dead Bloom value again, and since we drew the double Stupefy, we can actually Singularity to deal 6 to both the Misfortune and the Magma Worm. And then we can use 2 Stupefy to make the Magma Worm a 6 might, so he's gonna die to the Singularity as well. So yeah, do that. His board is completely empty. We are on 6 points. He doesn't have any points, and he can't slam the Dead Bloom into us. He's gonna play out the Catrogan, draw 1 card. That is fine. That doesn't really do much now. And like, if he didn't have the Aspirant's Claim, we would have won here. But since he does have the Aspirant's Claim, we can't win here, which really sucks. Okay, so we decide to go into here. We'd go to 8 points. And now we just have to count, because we do have quite a lot of stuff we can do on our opponent's turn here. We're gonna hide the Teemo. And then we're gonna stack deck. See what we find off the top. We find an Ari, stack deck, and a Riftbound student. Yeah, not really anything we want. We just take the other stack deck, so we can potentially find something better. We do have to kind of math it out here, because we can potentially, like with all these spells in hand and the Riftbound and the Sprite Call there, we can potentially, if he decides to go for the Dead Bloom here, then we can potentially get above 8. Or we can get to 9 energy here, which would be really nice. Because we can, like, this is 2 plus 4, which is 6, and then 7, and then 2 more spells from the hand is going to be 9, and we have stack deck and 2 Fight or Flight, so that is going to be really easy to do. So yeah, this is a very weird game, but I mean, sometimes you just have to think outside the box. Okay, so we decided to go for the Catrogan. That is not the one we wanted. We'd rather just Fight or Flight that, get that out of the way. The Riftbound is going to grow to a 3, so we are on the way to just being able to stand against the Dead Bloom here. And what does he decide to do? He decides to Misfortune. Now that is really bad for us, because that means that he's going to be able to just restand the Catrogan and attack again. We play out the Sprite Call there, and then he plays a Sky Splitter on the Sprite Call. Yeah, that is really bad for us. We really wanted to take care of that Misfortune, but now we can't. The Riftbound is going to go to a 4. We just have to give up this Traveling Merchant. We'd rather use the Fight or Flight on the Catrogan. Okay, it's going to attack with that. We do have the second Fight or Flight, bounce that back. Yep. The Riftbound goes to a 5, and then he has a Stormbringer, and that is an insane comeback turn for our opponent. We had all the pieces. We had the whole game lined up, and then he Stormbringers. Yeah, I mean, kudos to our opponent. This was a sick game. But yeah, the Stormbringer is just gonna smash this whole battlefield, and that is gonna make it a lot harder for us to win the game from here, because now we can't use the Time Warp on the same turn we play something out, which is the problem. But okay, let's see what we do here. We do have the Thousand-Tailed Watcher in hand, so we can take something out. We also have the Guerrilla Warfare, so we can get some hit cards back from the grave, or from the trash, I mean. But the thing is that, like, if we use the Watcher and the Guerrilla Warfare here, we're actually not going to be able to play the Time Warp next turn, because then we're going to be on 9 runes. We do get this the Retreat here, which could be nice to just protect that. Yeah, we're thinking really hard here, looking into the trash, see what we have. Yeah, we decided just, you know what, now let's just go for the Watcher. We're going to attack into the Misfortune, because the Misfortune has ganking, and the Catrogan only, like, stays there. Okay, so I decided to hide the Sprite Call here, because that way we're going to be able to trade into the Dead Bloom in case he has it, and he does have it. And I think, like, I play out this, and I think this is one of my big mistakes. Yeah, I let the Watcher go. I should have probably used the Retreat there to get the Watcher back, and then just gone for the same thing next turn, and then hoped he didn't have a Dead Bloom again. That is definitely what I should have done. I didn't think this one through, because I thought, okay, well, we can just kill the Dead Bloom, and then the Sprite is going to hold, but the Sprite has temporary, so it's not going to be able to hold. So yeah, that was a really, really bad play for me. we had this game under lock for so long, and I mean, and now we have to use the guerrilla warfare to get stuff back from the trash. We can get the sprite call, and like here as well. Like here, I decided to go for a sprite call and another sprite call, and I think what I should have done instead. I mean, it's weird because like the sprite call can't hold. The sprite calls can't hold. So what I wanted a double sprite call and a fight or flight, so I can move this category back and then also like conquer both battlefields. So this is just, I mean, delaying the inevitable. I'm like now I'm still feeling like, oh man, I wish I had that Watcher. I wish I just used the retreat on the Watcher. That would have been such a good place to be. But now we can't. And unfortunately, like we did draw the Stupefy here and we have a smoke screen. So that is going to make this, that is, sprite call is a 3, and then we can make the Cadrigrin a 4. So we needed one more smoke screen here and we could have actually won. But we didn't have that, so we can't win. But okay, we pass back to him. I mean, or I think we pass back to him. Let's see what we do. We do get the draw here. We can't really do anything else. Yeah, we're looking into the battlefield or on our trash, and all of our fight or flights are gone. So that is not going to come back, unfortunately. And then we just pass back to him. Really sad spot to be, because we really felt in control of this game until he Stormbringered us. And yeah, again, like, it would have been nice if that could hold, but it can't. We're going to stack deck. We're going to find a Singularity, a Realm Student, and a Sprite Call. Yeah, the Singularity, I mean, it could do something here, but we'd rather just go for the regular unit that can actually hold stuff. Yeah, we'll play that out. Play another Sprite Call. I mean, now we just play that just for the draw. Yep, go in here, get the draw off. We get a Blast Cone Fey, which is not really what we want here. Yeah, like here, I think I'm still just frustrated from the from the retreat non-play, I guess. So I mean, there's not really a reason to hide the Feyfolk there, because I mean it's not gonna protect against Volibear anyways. And yeah, here I try to target the Cadrigan. I of course can't. I take it back because I realized, well, it can only target at the battlefield that it was hidden at. So that's also not gonna work. That Falling Star is gonna take care of all of our units, or 2 of them, and then this bear is gonna take care of the other one. Okay, it attacks into there. That's fine. And then it plays another Cadrigan, draws 3 cards, goes up to 6. We draw an Ari. The Ari is a bit too late, unfortunately. A bit too late. Yeah, like this is why I run the rebukes in the sideboard, because if I just drew 1 rebuke here, that would have done a lot. Yeah, he used the challenge, and again, like we don't have enough to make the Cadrigan small enough so that we can trade into with the Ari or even get above it. So yeah, we're feeling pretty sad at this point. We're gonna Stupefy to see if we draw into something good here. We draw into a Traveling Merchant. That is not gonna do it, unfortunately. And yeah, we just give him the GG. We can't come back from here. That's really sad. We had this control, like we played so well and so like unconventionally, and that actually, like, if it wasn't on the Ashburn's Climb, we actually would have won that game. And I mean, if I didn't not use the retreat on the Watcher, then we, I mean, potentially could have won as well. But I didn't, and we got punished by that. So, you know, sometimes that happens. You just punt, and then the whole game goes away from you. Game 4 is going to be against Annie. We are again on the fortified position, and our opponent is on the Zon Warrens. So let's see how this goes. We do have the Traveling Merchant opening again, so this is a lot better than last game. Well, with the triple fight or flights. We're of course going to lead off with a Traveling Merchant and pass to him. He's going to play out a Pyroporo into the battlefield. Well, that doesn't work, sir. You have to play it into the base. Yeah, I think this player was pretty new, at least to the client. Yeah, I forgot to get the Annie runes back as well. That's fine. We just kindly remind him. We attack here. We just get rid of this guerrilla warfare. We don't really need that now. And then we draw into another time warp, which again, like, is not really what we need. So had we known that, then we would have just discarded the time warp instead. Alright, we get a point here. We are going to play out the Sprite Call. Our favorite turn 2 play is Sprite Call and then holding up Gust, and that is exactly what we do. We try to go here, yeah, we conquer, and now we're going to get rid of that stupid time warp, and then draw another Sprite Call. Okay, that's good. I like that aggression. And then pass back to him. We do have the Gust. We don't really want to use the Gust on the Pyroporo because it has Deflect. But, you know, I mean, if he plays something else out, then we can potentially use it on that. Let's see here. It's weird because the Pyroporo can actually attack into any of the battlefields. So it's going to use the Fight or Flight on the Sprite. Well, now we can attack into the battlefield. We're not going to bother using the Gust here. We can just use the Sprite Call next turn to take that out, which feels a lot better. Okay, he's just going to pass, not using anything. That's good for us. Probably had a weird hand, I would assume. Okay, we'll play another Sprite Call. Yep, we attack into the Poro again. But attack into the Zone of Warrens again, trying to take out the Poro. Okay, the Poro dies, that's good for us. Yep, we go to 4 points. We discard the Gust, we don't really need 2. Then we find the stacked deck. We are gonna look at the top. We are gonna find an Ari. The Ari is gonna be really nice here. We're gonna get the Teemo back. And then we're just gonna hide the Teemo. Yeah, I probably should have hidden that in the other battlefield because that, I mean, the fortified position is strong enough as it is. Okay, he's gonna play a Vi into the base. Does he have the Ride the Wind as well? Doesn't seem like it. Okay, so we get another point here. Okay, we'll play out the Teemo. Then we use the Fight or Flight on the Traveling Merchant again. Do that thing we like. We discard the second Gust. We draw another Sprite Call. Jesus, we have a lot of those now. Move up again, discard the other Gust. And then ask the question, do you have anything? Okay, plays Ride the Wind now. Yeah, I mean, this is probably a new player because that obviously should have been done on his own turn. Because then it could have just cleared both my battlefields. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, no, well, you know, actually he couldn't have cleared them because he only has like 2 cards in the trash. And he actually bottom decks the Ride the Wind now on my turn, which of course he can't do. I didn't notice now, but I noticed it afterwards. So yeah, again, I mean, it is a new player, that's fine. There are a lot of new players on TCG Arena right now, so sometimes the games are not as representative for the deck's power as it could be. But you know, in the end, it's all fun and games. We are gonna just play a Sprite to try it into the Vi. He says she's 4 might, by the way, which of course she isn't because he can't bottom deck on my turn. Okay, he plays a Rebuke. Wow, that is quite a commitment on 4 energy. And he's gonna target his own Vi, and that's fine. It means that we get the point here. He's on 2 energy, so yeah, I mean, this, again, a new player. It's fine. We're all learning here. Okay, we just get another stack deck. Don't really need anything else. Okay, we don't really get anything. We'd get the Watcher, because the Watcher is just a good Riftbound card. Let's see what he does. I mean, unless he has, like, now he has so little energy that he probably can attack us readied anyways. Yeah, and then he just gives the GG and leaves. Yeah, I mean, you know, as I said, new player. And he ran into this and he, you know, didn't exactly know how the game worked and how the rules worked, but that's fine. I can play against new players as well. But yeah, I mean, as I said, it's not really the most representative game for the deck. But you know, it is a game, and you still saw some of the power of the Teemo, like just the turn 2 play of just like attacking with your turn 1 play, playing the Sprite Call, and then having the Gust up. It's such a powerful tempo, like place to be, like tempo wise. It's so good. So yeah, that is like the ideal turn 2 play for you, like the ideal place to be turn 2 for this deck, I think. And for our final game, we are going into another Viktor here. We are on the Candlelit Sanctum battlefield, and our opponent is on the Treferian War Camp. So let's see if we can end this off with a win. He is going to lead off with a Soaring Scout. We're going second this time. He's going to lead off with a Soaring Scout. We are going to lead off with a stack deck, hoping to find the Merchant, if we can. We do find the Merchant, and we are going to take that probably. And we're actually going to take the Stupefy. Okay, we'd rather value the Stupefy over the Merchant since we already had a turn 1 play. It's funny making these videos like this because I'm kind of commenting over my replays. Because sometimes you notice stuff that, okay, well, I shouldn't have done that, obviously. You notice like plays that you probably should have done differently, but it's different when you're like in the heat of the moment. So yeah, do you enjoy this format, by the way? Because I mean, it takes more time for me, but I think also it takes a lot less time when it comes to like editing because I can speed this up to double speed, like the playbacks. Would you rather I comment live over the gameplay, or do you enjoy this as well? I feel like this way I can be more analytical because I can always like pause the clip. But please let me know what you think. Okay, he played out a Yordle and a Recruit and attacked into the battlefield with the Soaring Scout. Got 1 point. Okay, we attack into the Sanctum with the Rainbloom Student here. We look at the top 2. Seal and a Blast Config. We don't want any of those. We are gonna probably play out the Ember Monk here. Yep, we do. Build a Monk, and we do have quite some options here. We have the Fight or Flight, we have the Stack Deck and the Stupefy. We can hide the Fight or Flight. We decided to just hide the Teemo from the champion zone since we only had 1 energy left. And I mean, he's probably not gonna be able to take care of both of these units with his Yordle and Recruit. Unless he has like the Grand Stratagem. And in case he wants to use that now, then, you know, so be it. He also gets a point for holding, which he forgot, but we remind him. And then he plays a Color Weak. Yeah, I mean, that is also a reason why it's nice to just hide the Teemo there, because that means that we can still hold this battlefield even though he Color Weaks. Because, I mean, we obviously don't want to get rid of the Ember Monk. But for what it's worth, the Ember Monk does grow to a 6. That is a 4. He can, if he has a Stupefy, he can trade in with all of his units here. But he probably doesn't want that. Okay, he plays a Faithful Manufactor. Gets another recruit. He has 1 energy up, so he could Stupefy still. Okay, he's just gonna use the Victor ability to make another recruit. That's fine by us. That means our Teemo lives. We don't mind that at all. And then it just passes. Yeah, I mean, I get that he passed there, because if he moved stuff in, then I could have just run over it with the Ember Monk. And he already got the point that turn from that battlefield, so... Okay, we get a Sprite Call. Sprite Call, our favorite card in the whole game. Yeah, we're just gonna hide the Teemo. Again, like, since the Teemo is in our hand, he doesn't know what we hid. He knows we had the Teemo, but we also had 6 cards in hand at that point, so it could be anything. We do it like this. We do still keep the Fight or Flight up, in case he wants to use that, and we also have the Stupefy. We are gonna be able to develop quite a bit of might here. Okay, plays out a Sprite Mother. That it means that he's probably gonna go all in on this this Trifarian War Camp battlefield, which I get. Okay, it starts with a Sprite. Yeah, this is also a fairly new player. He doesn't really know how Hidden work and or how the Ember Monk works. But okay, I mean, so far I think he's been playing pretty well. He attacks into those 4 units. Does he want to attack with a more? Okay, 1 more. And then he just makes recruit. Yeah, I mean, he's doing stuff a bit out of order. He just kind of gets ahead of himself. Yeah, sorry, I got ahead of myself. That is fine, sir. Okay, so we decided to reveal the Teemo. So now we currently have 12 points here, because they both get +1 from the battlefield. We decided to Fight or Flight the Sprite. So now his points are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now we're actually above him, so he can't take care of us. Or he can't take care of us. He can't trade into us or get above us, so he has to do something else here to actually be able to get over. Okay, we don't really want to overcommit either. But now we are above, so we are surviving this. Okay, he decided to kill the Teemo, which, I mean, is not the correct choice there. You should always kill the biggest unit. I mean, I guess you have the argument that Teemo is like, it can be used multiple times to get the +4, but... You know, I think the Ember Monk is just, it's always a 4, and then it potentially grows even bigger than that, so I think the Ember Monk was definitely the correct choice there, and then, like, now he can't really attack into that, because the Manufacturer is only a 2 might or 3 might on the battlefield, and we have a 7 might, so... Now he's forced to not attack into us again. And unless he has something like a Color Weak or Hidden Blade here, we are just gonna get the point for holding, which is nice. Yeah, we do get the point for holding. We got a 4. We do have the Sprite Call, that we are of course going to use, because we are just going to go for the points as quickly as we can here. We go to 5, or at least we try to go to 5. Okay, we get the point. We can look at the top 2, and again we just bottom deck. We are looking for the Time Warp here at this point. We are going to play out the RE, but where we'd play her to the base, and then we decide to hide the Fight or Flight. Just because, I mean, again, we can protect against the Hidden Blade. Now we don't really want to hide it on the other battlefield, because the Sprite is just going to die anyways, so that is just a waste of a very good spell. So hiding like this makes us feel very safe. And then we also have the Stupefy for the redraw if we need that. He is going to Falling Comet the Ember Monk. Okay, that's fine. We are actually going to be able to Fight or Flight that Ember Monk. Move him back to the base, because the Falling Comet can only target at battlefields. And so that is just going to whiff. Yeah, plays a Vanguard Captain. Okay, that's fine. He gets more recruits. So, I mean, now we are... Yeah, he forgot to remove the Sprite token, which I forgot as well. Yeah, I mean, now we are very vulnerable to just like a Grand Stratagem or an Imperial Decree if he has that. So that is something that we should be aware of. Okay, he goes all in on that battlefield. On the War Camp, that is fine, because we have the Water in hand, and that is very good for us, because that means we can just delete this whole battlefield. Send him back a ton. We see 2 gusts, we don't really want those. We are just gonna Watcher, -3 to everything, so that is 7 to, or 8 to 3 at this point. And yeah, he can't really do anything about that, he doesn't have any energy up. And that's good, we go to 7 points. We move up the RE, we do have the double Stupefy in case he does something silly here. And we also have them just for the redraw in case he does, like in case he uses like an Imperial Decree, because that would be pretty bad here. Okay, he plays out the Viktor, the champion Viktor. And that doesn't kill us. And then he has the Imperial Decree. Yeah, I mean the Imperial Decree is what we were afraid of here. We are just going to use the Stupefy to redraw. Or Stupefies to redraw. We get another Watcher, which is nice. But unfortunately he is going to be able to trade into all of our guys here. But yeah, okay, Recruit trades into, I mean, something. It doesn't really matter. And then the Vanguard Captain is also going to be able to trade into the Ember Monk. Yep, but fortunately for us, the one card we drew is the Thousand-Tailed Watcher. And that is of course exactly what we need here. He's gonna get a recruit off the Sprite Mother dying. No, the Vanguard Captain dying, I mean. We're gonna get a draw there. We look at the top two, we get a Gust and the Time Warp. I mean, we don't really need the Time Warp now. Yeah, we're just gonna bottom the Time Warp and then we're gonna put the Gust on the top actually, because that could be used in case he goes for the Imperial Decree again. But for now we do have the retreat in case he wants to kill the Watcher. And we have the smokescreen in case he attacks with like his own Watcher, for example. So, but let's see, he might not have anything here. Okay, looks like he's gonna tap out for his own Watcher. Yes, he is. Okay. Our Watcher shrinks to a 3. And like I said, we could use the smokescreen here to minus his Watcher to kill his, but then he can just attack in with his Viktor and kill our Watcher, and we don't want that to happen. So yeah, we're just gonna retreat that, get a rune back. And then what's funny is like, because we know we have the Gust, since we're gonna draw the Gust here, we can actually play the Watcher next turn, and then keep up both the smokescreen and the Gust. So in case he plays another Watcher, we can actually minus for the Watcher and then Gust it back to the hand. But okay, let's see for the home stretch here. Okay, he is gonna look at the top two cards here of with the Candlelit Sanctum. Okay, puts both to the bottom. That's good for us. Gets a point, goes to 4. Like again, we are in a massive lead here. Now we just want to close this game out. Okay, yeah, we drew the Gust that we knew was on top. We're gonna play out the Watcher again, take care of his Watcher. He's gonna get a recruit off of that. But we get a draw, and we actually want to look at the top cards first. We get the Fight or Flight, which could be very nice here. Now we wanted to use a power to hide that, because now we can keep both the Fight or Flight and the Gust and the smokescreen up. So now we're feeling really, really safe. And like, unless he has a Watcher here, and I mean, even if he has a Watcher, then we can actually do what we plan to smokescreen the Watcher and then Gust the Watcher back, and then he can attack with the Viktor, and then we can just Fight or Flight the Viktor. So yeah, we're feeling really good at this point. But let's see what he does. He's gonna get 1 point for holding the Terfarian War Camp. And yeah, he just gives us the GG. Okay, yeah, that was the final game. Again, like these two last games, the Vanny and the Viktor, the players were pretty new. But I mean, again, like you can just see the power of the Sprite Call into Gust on turn 1, on turn 2, just having that ready. And I mean, of course, we know that Watcher is an insane card. And like in this case, we didn't really draw the, I mean, we could have drawn the Time Warp, but we didn't really need it at that point. And the Candlelit Sanctum is so good for just like keep looking at the top two cards, keep looking for the cards you need, just cycling, just being efficient like that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he was making some weird plays here and there, and he kind of tried to use the Viktor ability on like while he was attacking, and I mean some silly stuff like that. But like still, like the Teemo deck is, yeah, it's doing fairly well. Time Warp Teemo, or Team Warp, is actually, I think it's actually legit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Team Warp. Yeah, I think this deck actually functioned really well. Just the fact that we're so power efficient, like we don't have that much power cost, at least not that we want to use early game. And I think the fact that we run the Sprite Call over the Sprite Mother means that this, as I've said multiple times during this video, this curves so well on this deck. And the fact that we can just keep the aggression from the Sprite Mother while also maintaining the rune curve is so valuable, because as you saw, like we had no problems getting to 10 energy to get the Time Warp. And we won, I think we won like 3 games of the Time Warp, or 2 games of the Time Warp. And then like some games we don't even need it, because like just the power of the Watcher, I mean the Thousand-Tailed Watcher is just incredible. And the Watcher like with having the retreat in hand as well is so good, because like potentially you can attack, hold, and then use the retreat, bounce the Watcher back, and then play it out again, and then go into the other battlefield. And that is something that we've done in other videos as well. And I mean, yeah, this combo is just insane, and Watcher is just, I mean, it's a reason that it's like €30 rare, I guess is the rarity. Yeah, I mean the seal, I mean the seal can probably go. I don't think it's needed. I think when I put it in, I had a lot more. The deck looked very different, but I think for now it is not really needed. This deck are as good as you all said. many times. It is an insane card. It is just so good to just be able to. It's such a good consistency tool, and it's so cheap as well. And the fact, as I said, like that it has action and you can use it to potentially pump up the Ravenloom student is so valuable. And the fight or flight are mainstays. And like you saw, like multiple games, we actually used the fight or flight on our own turn just to move stuff back and then attack into the other battlefield. And like that is kind of what we want to do. We want to be as aggressive as possible, getting to 10 energy as quickly as possible, and then also using cards like Gust and the fight or flight, for example, and like the smokescreen and all that, to just keep our opponents from getting points. Because when we have such a big lead, that also allows us to do like some plays where we kind of get to have a turn off to kind of set up and then go for the time warp on the next turn. So we don't have to do, like, everything doesn't have to happen now. But that being said, this deck is, I mean, Teemo in general is a really technical deck to play. Like this legend allows for so many cool plays and lines of play, and you have so many choices and options on your turn. So it's really hard to like know what's the best thing to do in every given situation. And it's so like me, I mean, that was not really a tricky situation to be in. I just didn't use the retreat on the Watcher, and that lost me the game. I mean, I might not even have won if I did use the retreat, but it certainly would have made my chances a lot better if I did. But yeah, I think that is going to be the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still with me this far, that's amazing. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also hope to see you in the next one. But until then, take care and bye-bye.